Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Eternal Matters. Before we get into this week's episode, I have a few announcements for you guys. The first one is that from now on, you guys will be getting 2 episodes of Eternal Matters a month. Hold on. There's a reason for that. I am working on something really amazing for you guys. It will be made public and known to you guys really soon what it is, but I really just need that grace and that time to be able to bring you something bigger, something better with much more excellence. So please do allow me that grace of bringing you guys episodes twice a week. I'll still be available on my Instagram though. I'll still be doing some lives and sharing some videos and some motivation and some quotes on everything eternity and eternal matter related and just life related, anything that God just drops in my spirit to share with you guys. I'll be available on those platforms, Instagram and Facebook. And so yeah, you can still catch me there. I am also working and looking at bringing you guys some merchandise. So things that are in mind right now, we're considering doing masks, we're doing beanies, because it wouldn't make sense for me to not have an Eternal Matters beanie, right? So t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters, all those kind of things. But when everything is available, when what is available is available, you will be the first to know. You'll be the first to know. But for now, please do check out this week's episode and enjoy it. Hi guys, and welcome to Eternal Matters. Today I'll be speaking to you guys about purpose versus eternal purpose. And I'll be sharing from my own personal story, because there's no better place to teach from than personal experience. I was 6 years old, and my grandmother, it was 1992, she was preparing for her farewell party that would happen at the end of that year. In part of her preparation, there's one thing that really captured my attention. She wrote 2 poems that she gave to these 2 young men who are going to recite these poems and present them at the actual function. In the midst of everything that everyone was doing, the preparation, the cooking, the tents, the hiring, everything that would happen as you prepare for an event, this is the one thing that really captured me. It grabbed my attention. I witnessed the first production being put together in my life. It was my first time witnessing a production, and I didn't even know that is what it was. And I'm only realizing that now when I'm older and I know better. Because my grandmother had these young men come over to our house to rehearse and to practice. And then she prepared the costumes, the beads, and I remember her cutting out cardboards to make these hats that they would wear, and she was stitching onto them the beads that would hang over their face, so as to present as traditional Xhosa praise poets. This really grabbed me, and even on the day I was looking forward, that was the only moment that I was looking forward to in the whole event. I believe that in that moment, what I was born with, my passion and my love for words and for poetry, it was awakened. So fast forward 7 years later, I am in standard 5, grade 7 today. And we had been given an assignment, or at least homework, to write a poem about anything for English. And I wrote a poem that was titled Life. I wish I still remembered what the poem said, but I still remember the title because I still remember what inspired the poem. Nonetheless, my teacher was sitting marking, and then she calls me up and she asks me about this poem. She asked me if I actually wrote the poem, and I tell her yes. She asked what inspired the poem, and I could see in her face that she was really captured by what I had written, and it had done something to her emotion. And as I told her what inspired the poem, I could see the emotions and the tears welling up in her eyes. And she encouraged me to keep writing, and that I actually had a gift. And that really stuck with me. And so I kept writing from that day on. I kept writing throughout. That was grade 7. Obviously, I was going into high school. So throughout my high school life, I kept writing. I kept going right until grade 12. And now here I am in grade 12, matric. All my friends are talking about going to university to study this, to study that. All of them are talking about pursuing their careers and furthering their education at tertiary level and in university and so on and so forth. I didn't want to go back to school. I had had enough of homework. I had had enough of everything. All I wanted, I had this one passion that was still burning inside of me. It was to do poetry. All I wanted was to go to Joburg, get a mic, get a stage, and just share my words of poetry, share my story of life, share my story as I'm doing even today, share my story with people to bring hope and to bring encouragement and to encourage them to say, hey, look, I've gone through this and now I'm here. You know, I made it through this. You can persevere as well. You can press on. You can make it through. And that's a great thing. That's a really good thing. And the crazy thing is this passion is burning inside of me, yet the only person that I had ever witnessed and seen doing poetry was a lady on TV. Her name was Lebu Mashile. She had a TV program that used to play on TV that I absolutely loved, you know. And I'm not really a TV person, but I was always sure to watch that TV show because it kept that fire burning inside of me. It gave me that hope that I too can do that one day. Because where I come from, I had never seen a poet. I had never seen a poetry show live in my entire life. The most I had ever performed was in the classroom, in an English class, once again, where I just shared my poetry amongst my peers at school. So here I am. I apply to UJ and I applied to DUT because those were the only two places that I felt had what I wanted to do to offer. So I wanted to go and study, you know, videography, photography, all those kinds of things. But UJ didn't even reply. They didn't even send a "we regret to inform you" letter. Like, I'm convinced they didn't even get my application. So here I was. DUT replied. They accepted me. I ended up in Durban, a place I never even thought about, a place I never even imagined I would find myself in. But I ended up in Durban, and that's where I got saved, because God directs your steps. Like, even when you're not saved, God is still maneuvering in your life. He's still working in your life to get you to that place where he knows that he will meet with you, because he really wants to meet with each and every one of us. So nonetheless, I get saved. And like I had said in the previous video, that I didn't get saved the typical way of going down the altar call. I was sitting in the beach somewhere and I called out to God and God spoke to me. And what he said to me was, go to church. And so when he said that, I was like, okay, God, if this is really you speaking, you must lead me to the church that I must go to. And sure enough, he did that. And when I got to the church that he led me to, guess what I found? In the youth group, they had a department for poets. I was just like, oh my life, you know, this is great. I don't get to lose this thing that I really wanted to do just because now I've come to salvation, just because now I'm a Christian and I'm born again. I don't get to stop what I'm doing. But something changes. Because originally, when I had this passion outside of Christ, I just wanted to inspire people for the sake of inspiration and motivating them and just helping people just make it through life. But now I had a different story. I had a story that said that I'm not just making it through life, but I am being set free from the things that keep me captive in life. Because there are things that, you know, I could inspire someone to say to them, you come from a broken home like I did. You can work your way through, you can finish your grades, get through tertiary, and you don't have to go back to that life anymore. And you can enjoy life and be happy living with your own family and starting a whole new life. And that's really inspiring. That's really encouraging to see people that have come out of broken families and have made something out of themselves and had a better life on earth. But where does it end if I don't lead them to the one who can sustain them and heal them from all the brokenness that they probably carry with them out of their families into this new family that, you know, they now starting? See, this is where purpose and eternal purpose differ. Because outside of Christ, I could fulfill a purpose and encourage and motivate people to come out of their troubles and do better and become better people here on earth. But when I lead them to Christ, I fulfill my purpose, takes another direction. I fulfill an eternal purpose because now I guide them into eternity. You see, the book of Ephesians chapter 3, Paul speaks of an eternal purpose that God has accomplished in and through Christ. And before that, he speaks about salvation being available, not just for the Jews, but for the Gentiles, but for everyone in this whole world. Salvation has been made available. So when we lead people, when our purpose and everything that we do directs and points people to Christ, into salvation, that is when we are fulfilling an eternal purpose. The choice will always be theirs, whether they accept or reject that. But when they accept that, that is really great. We really celebrate and rejoice in that. But ours in everything that we do is to lead people to Christ in our everyday life. That is us fulfilling eternal purpose versus us just simply encouraging and motivating someone to just make it through the day. Because that to me is the same as I come with a cup of water and I give them to quench their thirst right now here temporarily. But when I lead them to Christ, I lead them to the well that never runs dry, so they don't have to ever thirst again. That is it fulfilling eternal purpose. Let's look at the story of Moses. Moses himself, he had a passion to set free the people of Israel from the captivity in Egypt, pardon me. But when he took it upon himself to actually go after and pursue this without the leading of God. And, he didn't even know where he was going to take them out to, but he was just fighting for them, fighting for his people, fighting for their freedom, fighting for their liberation. And that was good. That was great. But that ended up getting him into trouble where he now had to run away as a fugitive because the power of purpose, when it has not been submitted to the one who actually gives us, it has great potential to kill us. Because when we are born with purpose and the purpose inside of you is perfect and it's complete and its power is complete, but we need to be grown and molded and shaped and built into the house that is able to contain the power of this purpose that is within us, because it comes with great power. It comes from a God who's full of power. You see, any gift that comes from an eternal God, it has to fulfill an eternal purpose. Otherwise, it has been wasted. It is like pouring water in the sand. It has absolutely wasted. So here's Moses now, 40 years later. He has run away. He's 40 years old. He's standing in the bush on the mountain. There's this bush that is burning. And I look at that and I see God right there in that moment saying to him, you see that passion that was burning inside of you? I am now burning even more because I put that fire inside of you. And he's showing him the magnitude and the capacity and the capability of that power and that passion that he had inside of him, that it is an all-consuming, but it should not consume the one that carries it, because the bush was burning, but it was not consumed. So now God comes and says, now, when you do this with me, I will teach you how to take that fire that is in you and use it rightly, that it burns inside of you, but it doesn't consume you. When we take our gifts and present them back to God, God will use them in a way that they don't consume us. Because we have a tendency, and I think it's a thing that people say, we think that our gifts are supposed to serve us. No, we are supposed to serve God through our gifts. The gift doesn't work for you. The gift works through you for him. And if I was to go back to the very first episode of Eternal Matters and answer for you those questions that I had actually asked, because it's very important to have that. If you don't have the answers to those questions for your life, you won't know how to carry out your purpose. Because if I'm to answer to you the question, what is my life? My life is a sacrifice surrendered. If I'm to answer to you, What do I live my life for? I live my life for the glory of God. And if I'm to answer you, for whom do I live my life for? I live my life for Jesus Christ, who gave his very life for me. So in summary, my life is a surrendered sacrifice for the glory of Christ Jesus, who gave his life for me. And therefore, everything that I am, every gift that I have, every passion that I have, every desire that I have has to be surrendered and submitted to him first. If our lives are not surrendered to Christ, then we will take our gifts and everything that we have and use them like Moses did before he actually, ran away. And they will consume us because we want to use them for selfish reasons. We want to look great. We want the gift to work for us and satisfy our desires. Rather, I would encourage you, take your gift, take your passion, take it before God and ask him, what am I to do with this? How am I supposed to use this gift? Because like any gift that you get from someone, you open it and you read the instructions and the manuals from the person who created the gift. So you need to go back to the one who gave you the gift, the one who created the gift, and ask him, how do I use this so that it is working effectively and I'm not misusing it and using it the way that it's not supposed to. I'm not putting it together and breaking it in the process of thinking or trying to make it do what I wanted to do when it was not even made to do what I wanted to do. So yes, what is your purpose? Is it fulfilling an eternal purpose? What is your life? I ask you again. For whom are you living your life for? And what are you living your life for? Thank you for joining me. Remember this, even in your purpose, your eternity matters. Grace be with you. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video and I hope that you were blessed. I hope you were inspired. I hope you were encouraged. And yeah, I hope that you learned something and that it will help you in growing your relationship with God as you learn to become more like God and as you get to know God in your own life and as you just pursue eternal life, eternal purpose, eternal matters, So yeah, please do like, subscribe, and do share the video. Hit the notification bell so that when the videos come out, you know that the video is out and you're ready to watch it. So, or at least it's ready for you to watch it. So yeah, share the videos. You never know who might need this message to actually help them to draw near to God. You never know who this might be the one thing that they needed to hear before they just give up on life. So like, share, subscribe, and yeah, your eternity matters. Grace be with you.